Here's a question. Why should you buy into prep and black ivy? Now, some of you might know by now that I'm a huge fan when it comes to prep and when it comes to black ivy. I've mentioned this before on my channel. This is one of the ways I enjoy dressing, is just because I get to wear these items when I go to special events or when I go to church. It matches that environment. I think it's a good way to dress, and companies like ALD also bring modern streetwear to the prep look. So it's pretty much like Ralph Lauren. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Black Ivy, and we're going to be talking about prep and why you should start getting into that style. The Ivy look was founded by Ivy League schools, which is kind of redundant to say, but it's true nonetheless. It's because it was their uniforms. Now, the concept of Black Ivy, according to Jason Jules, is when black culture is reinvented by the Ivy look and made it their own way. And you can find his book on Amazon or at your local bookstore. It's really good, really informative, and he breaks it down further. Now, he claims that this style is a sense of freedom to express oneself in a way that's authentic. Black Ivy, specifically and specially, was used to revolt against the norms and to fight for civil rights through clothing, to prove that black people can dress smart and can dress well and should be taken seriously and valued as humans. Now, there are many forms of Black Ivy. If you get a chance to read the book, which is called Black Ivy, A Revolt in Style, you'll notice that the author talks about musicians, he also talks about artists, he talks about sports, actors, politics, education, and so on. All these different figures that are in this book, he talks about, shows their style, and then explains why they dressed the way that they did. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about 2 to 3 people that I liked after reading this book. And even before the book, I liked their style, but this book basically showed me a little bit more about their style. Now, this artist is one of my favorite artists because I'm a huge fan of jazz, and he dropped one of the most classic albums of all time, and it's called Kinda Blue. Now, if you guys are jazz fans, you'll know who I'm talking to and who I'm referring to. But if you ever wanted to get into jazz, that's one of the best albums to start with, Kinda Blues, because it's one of the best jazz records or records of all time, and he is a pioneer in the genre. His name is Miles Davis, and he's one of the most influential people when it comes to music and in the music business. Absolutely, for true. I would say, other than him, I would say Michael Jackson or James Brown. His style was pretty much well put together, very cool, very elegant, but still be able to be sophisticated and match the environments that he was in. The clubs and the bars that would be his main way of getting money or to perform, would obviously, his clothes would fit that aesthetic. I really think it's important to understand when it comes to culture and when it comes to dressing, environments matter because that can convey or get you into certain rooms, and it matches that environment, and it kind of pretty much contextualizes what you are about. Because if I dress as a skater but I'm going to an upscale restaurant, it doesn't match. But if I dress as a skater and I'm at a skate park, it kind of coincides and it kind of goes and aligns with what I'm actually doing based on the environment. And it also explains why some person dresses a certain way based off of the environments that they're in. So this is what Miles Davis says. He claims that you need to have style in everything you do, whether it be boxing, music, art, teaching. And I also agree with this sentiment, just because, as I stated earlier, whatever you do, style matters, because style and how you dress is an extension of you and your ideals, your personality, and it can shine through and is nonverbal communication. So It's a way to show and represent yourself. So in everything you do, you should have style to it. So the type of stuff that he wore is a lot of wool suits, high-waisted trousers, button-ups, and he wore a lot of eyewear as well, specifically sunglasses, which kind of makes sense if you're a musician, gives a little mystique going on. So that's it for Miles Davis. This man is truly a revolutionary when it comes to how he impacted black people and how he caused black people to view themselves. He helped cultivate positive attributes to black people, which was rare at that time. His name is Malcolm X, and I'm a huge uh, fan of his and his work, even though I don't use the word fan a lot, but definitely most of you guys have known him in relation to Dr. King because they had alternative views when it comes to liberation for their people and civil rights. Malcolm X spoke mostly about being separatist and not integrating, which is the antithesis of what Dr. King was about. He believed in self-defense and being able to combat unwarranted violence the same way white people could defend themselves against their own harm. This stuff matters, especially because the whole book is about how they revolted against white supremacy. So having guys like Malcolm X in this book is crucial because he had style and he revolted in ways, like I said, non-verbal, which is clothing, but also verbal when it came to politics, because that matters as well. So Malcolm X started out as a gangster who pretty much wore zoot suits at the time and a lot of flashy clothes, but then his style pretty much changed when he joined the Nation of Islam and he became Muslim. His style was very immaculate, very smart looking as well, because he was teaching at different schools. Like I said, environment matters. He was known for his glasses. Matter of fact, it's the same glasses I wear, and I'll never stop getting these glasses, no matter how old I am. He was known to wear lots of dark colored suits, trench coats, and he was, in a sense, he was really into wearing that type of stuff, which makes sense because he was in the East Coast and it can get colder, and usually that's more the vibe that they had back then. Although he did wear some pattern blazers every now and again, for the most part he wore darker clothing. Then he also, when it came to headwear, he wore a lot of fedoras. Later on in his life, as he broke away from the Nation of Islam, he started to wear a hat in the wintertime called a karakul. I believe its origins is from either the Middle East or Eastern Asia, specifically closer to Russia, I would say, or Eastern Europe, my bad. And one piece of jewelry that he would wear a lot would be the Nation of Islam ring when he served as a minister in his career over there before he parted ways because of intellectual disagreements. So that's pretty much Malcolm's whole vibe in a nutshell, what he represented, how he dressed, how he communicated. He didn't really wear jewelry that much, but he would wear watches and hats, as I mentioned before. And that's what his style was pretty much all about. And I like his style, and I usually wear that type of stuff when I go to church. Minus the fedora. I'm not really a huge fan of those. Now we have Muhammad Ali. Now, Muhammad Ali was talked about being the greatest boxer of all time. Now, is that questionable? You can discuss that with your mama, not me. But he's known more so for his boxing than his style, but his style is very much so Black Ivy because earlier on in his career, when he was formerly known as Cassius Clay, he wore a lot of Oxford shirts, which is synonymous with Ivy wear, especially with the Brook brothers, who pretty much cultivated the Ivy look 200 years before he was alive. And when it came to that, he wore a lot of nice loose trousers, and he was able to take elements from Ivy and make it more youthful because at the time he was around my age, so it's more laid back but still put together well. And he wore a lot of polos and cardigans. He wore a lot of polo shirts, like polo sweaters, which I have and I'm a huge fan of. And it looked nice, it looked preppy, but he was still put together and people could take him seriously at that time. So these are the three people that I talked about. in this video that I think that you guys can look at and get into that style and recreate it and make it your own. Like I said, we're in a modern era, so it doesn't have to look one way, but you can take elements from Miles Davis, from Muhammad Ali, from Malcolm X, or from whoever else is in this book, and you can apply it to yourself and then recreate it, just like ALD recreates prep like Ralph Lauren, but makes it more modern so that people our age can wear, or even younger. If you're younger watching this in high school, you can do it too. As long as you're being yourself, as long as you're trying to expand your palette, expand what you want to do, and then you understand the history and the origins of where it's coming from, and you're not cosplaying, but it's true to you. I absolutely 1,000% agree that you guys should look more into this stuff because it's very fascinating, and I love this book. Highly recommend it if you're getting into fashion or you want to pivot your look or elevate your look. Start there, because classic menswear or classic American wear, whether it be Prep or Ivy or Ralph Lauren or Western, it's here now, and a lot of people our age are getting into it, and it matters. It's a part of history, but as long as you understand where it comes from, that's what matters. And with that said, this is your boy Darius D. Yo, I'm signing off once again. Y'all stay suave and see you last time. Make sure you keep thinking. You heard me?